In this video, I'm going to show you how to begin your speaker transference to Fusion. You can start anywhere on this one. You could draw a box, hollow it out, put the holes in for the speaker. That would probably be the easiest way, which I'm sure most of you can do. I'm going to show you the more complex way, but the probably more stable way and guaranteed to work. Okay, so we start by drawing the holes for the speakers because that's the main point. So I'm going to select a view from which to draw, and I'm going to draw at the front because that's where the speakers are going to be for me. And I'm going to create a new sketch, select that, and I'm going to press the letter C for circle, or I could just click that one there. I'm going to choose an arbitrary point, so anywhere to start, and just to clarify that the holes for your speakers should be about 50. The next part is the construction detail, and that is so that I can get the exact points for the holes to secure the speakers in. Now if you measure it, I believe it's about 55. So if I click circle and click construction, click this and go 55, you'll see a dotted line going through, and these holes are at 45 degrees to the center of the circle and are at 90 degrees apart. So the easiest way to do that would be to press L for line, or click that one there, and there's my 45 degree angle. Zoom in. I'm going to click construction off because I actually want to make this into a hole. Find the intersection, and I think a 3mm hole should be better. Now I haven't actually measured this, so this might not be 55, it might be 58, it might be 60. You'll have to measure it. Okay, so there's my hole. Now I can repeat that all the way through, which I'm sure you can do, but I'll show you something else. You might want to use it later on, and that is the circular pattern. The object I want to copy is going to be that circle there. The center point of the pattern is there, and I want 4 of them. And of course 4 of those around the circle is going to be 90 degrees, and I already started at 45 degrees, so these are all in the correct spacing. So these are the holes. Now I can delete the dotted lines if I want, but the dotted lines are only there for me. They're not there for the program. So if I start to extrude and cut away, these dotted lines will have no effect, nor will the dimensions. So it's okay to have a cluttered work surface as long as you are able in your head to ignore some of the details. Now we need 2 of these. So if I go here to sketch, right click, sometimes I can copy and save it. Let's finish that sketch now. Have a look. Sketch. Oh, I can't edit and sketch. Alright, so that's going to be a pain. So highlight that, right click, copy, right click, paste. You'll see that the handles appear, and then I can move that across. So if I'm happy that my the distance between these are correct, then I can pretty much say OK. If I'm not happy, I would need to draw a line and section it so that I would know exactly where they're going to go. And be careful, that line does have to be a construction. So now I've got my holes for the speakers, and I've also got the holes to connect the speakers in. Okay, so without finishing, I can now draw the front of the speaker cabinet itself, and for that I've got a plan, and that one is going to be symmetrical. So with this rectangle, I'm going to create a center rectangle from right in the middle there and come out, so that's even. We're going to come out to there. Now remember, the outside is not the inside, which sounds pretty obvious, but let's say I made this 10 across, which this is. Sorry, it's not 10 across, it's 10 high. Well, the thickness of the material itself is going to be 3 mil. So two of those, top and bottom. Top there minus 3 mil, bottom there minus 3 mil, sides minus 3, minus 3. Well, that's 6 from the top and 6 from the sides. So actually the internal area is going to be smaller, and a good way to find out is by pressing the letter O or offset. Select the lines to which we're going to offset and bring it in 3 mil. Okay, so that is the space we've got, and as long as your lines don't touch the speakers, then you don't have a problem. But as soon as they do, you might want to start offsetting it on the outside to make the box bigger. We've had students in the past making boxes that look lovely from the outside, but then when you look on the inside, they've chosen such a thick material they can't put anything inside it. Now remember, you've just got to ignore some lines yourself. You'll see what I'm doing in a minute, that why it's going to look very confusing at the moment. The next thing is I want this to be 4 pieces of wood. So one at the top, one at the side, one at the side, one at the side. So I'm going to press a line. So L, click that. And I'm going to click that there. So this is one piece of wood going across. And I'm going to do the same here. And I'm going to do the same there. So if you are able to ignore all of these details, and just look here, that's one rectangle, another one, that's 4 rectangles, and they're going to be the sides, the top and the base. The outside rectangle is the front. The circles are where the speakers are. The smaller circles are where I connect the speakers. The next part is to make the hole for the on button. Now again, I know the center of the line, which is here. So if I go and create a different type of rectangle, then I can do this type of rectangle. And I haven't measured the switch, so you might need to measure the switch. I'm going to say that it is an 8 by 6. And there's another bit of confusion there, and that is going to be the hole. Okay, I'm happy with that. I'm going to finish the sketch. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to make the front, and then I'm going to move it away. So to do that, I'm going to extrude. I'm going to extrude this, this one, and this one. If you half shut your eyes now, you can see exactly what I'm doing. And I'm going to extrude that out by 3 mil. I'm using 3mm material because I actually want the laser cutter to cut everything out. Now I'm going to press OK. Now all the confusion disappears, which is actually a problem. I want that all to come back. But this is the front of the body. Let's bring all that confusion back. So I press the I button. Okay. The next part is this. This is on the surface, and I want this to come out. So I'm going to extrude, and we're going to extrude the sides first. 1, 2. I'm going to make it complicated. I'm going to do all 4 of them. Bring it out, and I want that box to be, look at that, 80 mil, so that's fine. If I go join, then the whole thing is made from one material, which is fine if you want to 3D print the entire thing. But if I want to laser cut all the individual parts, I'm going to have to go new body. Let's see if that works. Should have lots of bodies, I haven't. Okay, so now what's happened is, if I move that out of the way, you'll see that there's the top, the front, sorry, and there's the sides. But actually what I wanted to do was have all these separate. So I'm actually going to remove that and start again. So let's start again. So extrude 1, 2. These aren't connected. So if I go back minus 80, new body, that's fine. And now if I go to this one, that one, and minus 80. Joint, no, I want these to be a new body. To make sure they're a new body, I can actually just hide that. And hide that. And I can go OK. So now I've got all my parts. together, and that face there can be moved back into position. Okay, so there's the box, and it's also in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 parts. I can relabel these. That'll make my life easier later on. So that's the top, that's the base. Better get this one right. If I'm looking at the front, then that is the right side. And that is the left side. Okay, the next part. Well, most of you are using tubes, so let's show you how to do tubes. I'm keeping the sketch here. Sometimes the sketch disappears and it's just because it's been hidden, but you can always bring that back up. Now, some of you are using the cardboard tubes, so let's go here. Let's edit the sketch so I don't have to redraw a sketch. And we can either draw a new circle. I'll do a new circle here, or we can offset a circle. So press C for circle, bring it out, and I can put a circle there, 58. Or I can simply go O for offset and come out to where I feel that that is the most suitable. Again, you're going to have to measure the material you want. Unless you're 3D printing it, then it doesn't matter. Right, so there's my sketch, and I finished it, and that brought all that back. If life's getting a bit confusing, you can always hide things. Let's keep that. Let's keep the base there. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to extrude these. So extrude 1, 2. It's got the holes in there. I could have the holes if I wanted, or I can just not have the holes. Bring that back. Now the size of the tube is of course up to your own specifications. Let's just do, I'm just going to do 50, making sure that nothing is joining. And there are the tubes, and they've got the holes there, so now I can put the speakers directly onto that, and everything should work. So let's bring everything back in so you can see it. I've got my on switch, I've got my speakers that are going to be here and here. I can say, right, I'm going to get the metal to cover that, so I don't need to draw that. I want the circuit to be at the base, so the base is that the circuit's actually got some 4 holes. If you measure those, you could maybe put the 4 holes there, extrude them up, and sit the circuit in nice. Alternatively, I could select that face, hide the top. Let's hide the tubes as well. Press R. And of course I haven't measured it, but let's pretend that it's that size. Offset that. Now I can extrude this. If I'm 3D printing it, it doesn't need to. It could be set. It doesn't need to be separate. If I'm not, I can just do that, and that's a new body. So this might be the area where I put a load of glue in and shove that circuit there. Okay, it's time now to label everything so it doesn't become too confusing. So circuit. That is the left tube. That is the right tube. Okay, let's put that top on and the tubes back in. Okay, so I've got my speakers, and now I need my battery and my back. To do this one, I can either go back to the front, redo the whole thing, and then, but instead of having the holes, take the holes away, or I can start again. I'm going to start again, and that is to highlight the side, right click, create sketch. That's going to move it. Press R for rectangle, or click that. Go from there to there. Shift, move it around. Extrude. So finish your sketch. Extrude that. 1, 2, that's the back, and I want to go 3 mil. Again, do not let it join. If you let it join, we've got a big problem. New body, that's okay. And now I can start putting in where the batteries are going. So I can't see the inside now, so that's a bit confusing. So if I go visual style, hidden edges, now I can see that that is where the end of the tube are, that's where the circuit is. The batteries are pretty safe going in here. So let's hide all of this, especially that side. And now I can see exactly where the batteries are going. Again, your job to measure. I've been a bit lazy and not measured it. I'm going to put let's do that there. So I'm going to pretend that that is the right size. And I'm going to finish that sketch. This is for the batteries. Click that, push it in. It should go red. And that's a cut line there. And then I can actually have my batteries sticking out here and glue those in. It's going to be a bit ugly, but let's find out what that looks like. So, how do I do that? I do that, create a sketch. That's 4 batteries, so finish that sketch. Extrude those. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Make sure your new bodies. It's going to go cut first. New body, okay. I can even do this. I'm just playing now. Probably just wasting your time. But let's do it anyway. So 4, 4, 4, and the last one 4. Finish that sketch. Extrude. So I'm actually just drawing batteries. These are symbols. Okay, and we're going to join those. If I go here, these are the bodies. 1 to 4. That's me holding shift. Right click on the word itself. Otherwise life becomes difficult. And just shift that around a bit there. Okay, so that's where the batteries are going to go. And now, if I make everything go back, there are the batteries there. So can they go through? And the answer is, of course, yes they can. So I can put them in there and actually glue that whole battery compartment there. And then I know I've got the batteries, I've got the switch, I've got the 2 speakers, I've got the 2 tubes, I've got the top, everything there. And then I've got the circuit. Now you've got quite a few lessons to just do this and play around. If you want feet, you should now know how to do the feet. You would click on the bottom of it or the base, you go create sketch, make a circle if that's the shape you're after, choose a point, there they are. And you can now, because I've taught you how to do the patterns, let's try the rectangular pattern. The object we want is that's the object. We want 4, is that right? I think it's actually 2. So we'll go down to 2, we'll go there, and we'll come down and we want 2 there, not 3. And that's another quick way of doing stuff. Finish that sketch and then of course extrude, 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 and we're going to make that a new body again, so don't join it. And of course I can then go modify and fillet. Where's fillet there? F for fillet. Click 1, 2, 3, 4, and fillet is to give it a nice round edge. do. Okay, and that's your speaker. If you want holes, you now know how to do holes. If you want to add stuff, you now know how to add stuff. And you know how to round stuff and make patterns. If the sketch is confusing you, you can remove those. Okay, and that's basically it for that part. In the next video, I will show you how to cut it using the laser cutter.